This might be my craziest video yet. What we're going to be doing today is using ChatGPT and a few other AI programs to basically create indicators for us to trade with. And then we're going to use our actual portfolio to day trade with the indicators that it makes for us. We have, of course, seen people creating videos similar to this where they just let AI trade for them, creating simplistic programs where it basically buys based on different indicators and internal factors, but I feel like using it to create indicators for TradingView that then you can day trade on might be something unique that even you guys could do if you want. But obviously this is not financial advice. I'm still very new to trading and still learning. As you guys can see from the recent videos, we are definitely getting better. I'm understanding a lot more on how basically this whole trading thing works. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to try and use AI to see if this is actually going to make you a better trader, or whether it's just using either the indicators that already are built into these programs like TradingView, or just trading based off your own market sentiment. And then of course you can measure that on the internals and it just spirals from there. So in order to do this, we have to tell ChatGPT to create trading indicators using Pine script. Create an indicator, identifies breaks of structure, fair value gap detection, and marks weak highs and strong bottoms with live trading information. And there we go. It basically gives us a full Pine script that shows us breaks of structure, fair value gaps. We have weak highs and strong lows, so we can basically see if it is going to swing or if it's going to fall through the lows, create brand new highs, different things like that. And we want it to use live trading information. So we don't want it to use historic data, because if it's using data from 3 months ago, that's not going to be relevant today unless we are talking about all-time highs and things like that. And the best thing is that we can basically copy this code and put it straight into TradingView, which is going to be perfect. It even tells us how this is going to work. So breaks of structure is going to use pivot highs and lows and confirm structure break when price closes above or below prior swings. We have the fair value gap, which is going to be simple 3-bar logic. It identifies gaps between candles that may act as liquidity zones, which could be a good area to buy in. We then have strong/weak zones, which flags price behavior that confirms a strong low or rejects weak high structure points. So a strong low basically just means the price is going to bounce off this point. It could be a good entry if you are bullish, and weak highs basically work in the opposite direction. So if it ends up going to the weak high and then starts to retrace, you could enter a short here, betting on it not breaking through that high, and of course basically tracing back down. We then want it to use the live info panel because it's going to display all of the current pricing. We want to see last break of structure and trend direction, of course, on our charts as well. We can trade the length parameter to adjust sensitivity, and it looks like this is actually going to be pretty good. We can also use this to backtest the strategy, because this is going to be really important, basically to see if this code actually works or not. We can then go into TradingView, test out this strategy on the backtesting, see how profitable it actually is, what its percentage of win rates actually are, and whether this is going to make us a better trader or not. So what we're looking for in this is just going to be a few different things. We want this indicator to point out breaks of structure and some change of character as well. So if the market is acting bullish and then all of a sudden it seems like it is going into bearish territory, we want that to display on the charts. We then want weak highs and strong lows to be displayed as well. This could be a really good pinpoint to basically enter different options like longs or shorts. So if it bounces off a strong low, we know the market is going to rebound in the future, and this could be a good entry for bullish trends. If it does bounce below those weaker highs, we know that this could be a good option to short. We don't really want to be flip-flopping between strategies too much. We want to try and take as little trades as possible, but make them as high quality that we can to return maximum value, because obviously trading fees are just going to eat up any profits that we make. So if we're doing 5 or 10 different trades, we're going to end up going broke. We want to just make sure that we do 1 or 2 trades and try and ride them out and basically confirm whether our thesis is correct through these brand new indicators, or whether we're just better off using the pre-built indicators. So let's go and do a back test to see if this is actually going to work. Fair to say our first iteration of the strategy is not going well. Total P&L would be minus 2.3 1,000. We ended up taking 195 trades. Again, this is just a backtest strategy. So we actually did not take these trades. This is basically just telling us what happened. So we ended up having 69 positive trades. We had 126 trades with a loss. We had a profit factor of 0.98, which is basically the amount of money that it made for every unit of loss. And yeah, we can go through here, see the performance, open P&L, minus 700, net profit, minus 1,500. Longs, though, we did really well, plus $10,000 on longs, but it seems like the shorts was really where this strategy ended up failing, whereas the buy and hold return would have just been $282,000, which is crazy. Trades analysis, we can go in here and see average losing trade was 1,000, average winning trade was 1,800. So it does seem like basically they were cutting losses at 1,000. That was their stop loss, but sometimes they would let them run for too long. The wins, however, they kept going down, which was good. Average P&L, again, on the longs was $100. Average P&L on the shorts was minus $123. So that was really where the losses started forming. Even on the longs as well, we had the bigger win trades. We had the still a decent win at $3,000 on a short. But yeah, this really wasn't anywhere what I was expecting, so we're going to have to see. Also, it seems like these trades would end up going for over an hour. Average number of bars in trades, 55. So if we're on the 1 minute time frame or even the 5 minute time frame, yeah, we can see here, average number of bars in trades on the 1 minute time frame, it is nearly at 3 hours. So these are not short swing trades, these are longer term trades. So we're going to go back into ChatGPT, basically go through, we can see the exact list of trades or the history of trades that it had taken over the last week. It looks like all the way back. Oh my god, this must have been a lot. Back pretty much to the start of May, which is crazy. So we're going to go back into ChatGPT, test this strategy once again, and see if we can make this a little bit better. All right, round 2. This actually looks a lot better. This looks like it is still in an active trade. We are now plus $23,000, averaging about a 2% return on a $1 million portfolio. You can see the total number of trades down here at the bottom. So it took 142 trades. It is still less than profitable at only 40%. But again, it doesn't necessarily matter if we are still positive, because it does seem like those wins outweigh the losses, which is huge. Again, longs seem to be doing better than shorts, so it might honestly be worth taking out the shorts entirely. We had more losses on shorts. We again had more profits on longs, which is really good, even though we had $87,000 of gross profits basically throughout. Obviously, there is no commission being paid because this is just paper trading. There are no trading fees with this. And through the trades analysis, we can see that there were 57 winning trades. We actually had more winning trades on shorts than longs, but still made more money on longs. Average P&L for both was profitable, which is really good. Average winning trade was nearly at $1,800 for longs, $1,300 for shorts. Average losing trade, again, it seems like it did cut that stop loss a little bit closer. Now under $1,000 for each. So we had $700 loss on the longs, $800 loss on the shorts, and the largest winning trade again goes to the longs at $4,000 and $3,500 on the shorts. So this does seem a lot better. The risk to performance ratios seem a lot nicer as well. You can see here the trades again. This does look like a little bit more of a profitable indicator. So this might be something that we look at, and whether this is actually just a good trade to basically use, we're going to have to wait and see. This might be the best bit of coding I have ever done. Now, a lot of this has been used from other indicators because basically coding something from the ground up with no experience like me was impossible. Every time I used AI, we kept getting errors saying we couldn't understand this. You basically had to tell it whether it was an indicator or a strategy, and it kept getting confused. It even blended these two together and then just completely broke. So what we have done is altered some of the indicators I've used in the past with changes that I think need to be made, and we did that with AI. So now if we go and have a look at our charts, you can see here we have breaks of structure, we have changes of character, we have strong highs, which is actually quite impressive. We then have the lows as well. It seems like we have these value gap areas here. We now have a dashboard up the top, basically telling us what type of indicator each of these are and whether they are active right now or not. So even though this doesn't really tell us how to trade, when to trade, what to trade, or anything like that, we can still use the indicators that it has created to basically decide whether we want to go long or short, whether we're bullish or bearish on this market. So you can see the green change of character here means bullish, which worked out really well because it then changed to a bullish trend. We can then see the break of structure here into the negative, or the bearish break of structure with it going down. So again, that worked out quite well. We have the change of character here going from a bullish change to negative. We have plenty of examples all the way back, going back a few days. And then, of course, the strong high here. You can see this wicked up to this level at 165 and then failed to break through. So that is now the high. I almost feel like this is probably be better off as a weak high, but for right now it is indicated as a strong high. So we'll see if that does end up holding. It does seem like it is sort of consolidating between these areas and has sort of been consolidating between this line and this line for the last, 3 hours or so. So it might be a little bit hard to get a real direction on where this is going. So we are going to be using some other indicators like RSI as well, that we're going to use not only to just keep trading based on current market sentiment and trend changes that I think are going to happen, but we can use all of these together to basically bet on either market reversals or whether the market is sort of underpricing the sentiment at the moment and whether it is going to break through these highs or just keep going lower. So this is going to be really interesting, but the hardest part is done. Now we get onto, I guess, the next hardest part, which is actually trading with our account and seeing if we can be profitable or not. Oh my god, wish me luck. All right, let's see if we can enter here. It seems like markets have rallied a lot. It seems like they are continuing to push higher and higher. We'll just set a stop loss here at 30. But this seems very overpriced. Again, we're reaching that high now, so we'll see if we do end up breaking through. It is sort of dangerous to be betting on this reversal after, I guess, the last few hours do seem quite bullish. But we might have actually got in at a good point. We're now going positive, I guess back to 0. Our indicators haven't changed, but you can see there was a positive break of structure here. We had the equalized lows down here as well, so we got to let this run. I think to clear fees, we probably have to be at least $15 in the green. So we're going to have to wait and see whether this is right. You can see now the confirmation of that weak high because it failed to break through twice. I think it failed to break through back here as well. So it did build up to that level and then failed to break through. Change of character though, this is all negative. So now it has changed to bullish. We'll see if that does end up going away though. If this keeps going down, I feel like if this closes lower than this previous candle on the 1 minute, then that change of character will actually go negative. We can see here on the 5-minute charts, it is quite different. You have a stronger high way up here, which was set in the morning. We still have negative breaks of structure. We do have a bullish one right here. It seems like this is going back up on the 5-minute chart. So it is always good. I feel like we might have just rushed into this. We didn't really do much practice with this new indicator. We have the weak low down here. But it might have been worth just testing out, having a look at where we sat on the wider time frames. We have really only been trading using the 30 seconds and 1 minute just to basically get really short confirmation on our thesis. So we'll see if this does end up holding again that weak high. That is the 3rd minute in a row where it has failed to break through that level at 165.75. So there's obviously a lot of resistance there, a lot of selling pressure set at that level. So if that keeps holding, this could definitely go all the way back down. Probably looking to go about, maybe not that far down, but I think about 164.50. So it would be about a $1 drop. We can get rid of that because I don't think we'll need it. We'll sort of just let it run. Again, we do need to make about $15 to actually clear the trading fees and go profitable. So we will just end up letting this run. Again, I feel like this could easily go bullish. It looks like consolidation is happening between these two areas, 165 I guess about 50 and 165.75. A lot of selling pressure at the top, probably a lot of buying pressure down here as well. It would be good if we could get like an order book for this. There probably is an indicator that actually has order book values, so we might have to look into that very soon. You can see it is sort of hovering around our entry, but this could still definitely flip into a bearish zone. I'm surprised this change of character is still staying up there, with break of structure looking like this might have been bearish on a wider time frame. Obviously, it's bullish over 5 minutes or 6 minutes, I guess. It failed to break through these levels down here as well to the downside, so you could have expected a downturn here. But it looks like maybe this was holding and now it is starting to flip a little bit bearish, even though I hate betting on market reversals because I do want to be a perma bull. I still feel like there is so many opportunities in this market to make money on the downside whilst the rally is overall to the upside. I guess just what a rally is. So we'll let this run, have another sip of coffee. Ah, delicious. And obviously, the more money that we can actually make from this just means the more coffees that we can afford, which then means the more energetic these videos will be. So really, it's a win-win. You guys should be wanting me to make some money from this trade, I guess. Or if you enjoy seeing me lose money, then I guess you could want that too. But we'll keep tracking this, see what the 5-minute charts are doing. So again, it does look like it is sort of failing to break through those levels. Obviously, all those single candles all happened in the same 5-minute candle. So that does look a lot different. There's another minute and 20-ish seconds left on that candle. But you can see there has been quite a big rally. It just seems like this overall day has been really choppy. 3 really big declines in a row. Look at that volume. That's crazy there. Again, I haven't really been trading over the last few days, but it does seem like this has all been pretty negative. Change of character to the downside, break of structure again, another break of structure to the downside, tiny to the upside. You can see how small that is, and then all of a sudden change of character, another break of structure, and then this big red line from... I don't even know where that is. Is that on our entry? Oh, just above our entry is another break of structure from there to the downside. So it does look like the market is sort of recovering from this huge downturn. So maybe there is just a little bit of a rally here. It does look like it's sort of hovering. I just brought up the RSIs and the MACD basically just to see what the other markets look like. It looks like it is struggling to hold bullish trends on the MACD, and it could very well invert, going bearish. RSI looked about 80, so that does look like it was overbought. So we could be perfectly timing this bearish trend trade. We're going to have to wait and see. Again, you can see that huge candle up hitting the week high once again at 165.75. So obviously is a lot of selling orders going through that level, I guess. So this might have to be one of those longer trades. I think what we saw from the trading strategy, well, there we go, huge order. I guess a lot of volume to the upside there. What we saw from those tests that we did with the strategy tester built into TradingView was that a lot of the trades that were being simulated were those longer term trades. They weren't swing trades for 5 minutes, 10 minutes. They were those sort of 1 hour to 2 hour, even 3 hour average positions. So 3 hours from now is 6 p.m. for me. So we're going to have to wait and see. I feel like overall this thesis could be right. There is a definite bearish trend at the moment. I feel like there has been quite a good rally over the last few days. We just had the courts blocking Trump's tariffs, which saw a lot of the markets go quite green. And then we saw that the courts reinstated the tariffs, basically to see what the Trump administration was going to do with the courts and whether they were going to appeal them, which it does look like they are going to do. So I feel like markets is sort of stuck in this pattern of not knowing where the markets really want to go, getting bullish news, not trading as bullish as it should, and then sort of basically taking back all those gains to the downside, which is definitely what has happened over the last few days. And obviously, I haven't been able to trade, so I haven't really seen any of this choppiness up until today. But it does look like that sentiment is continuing. And since I am Australian, at about 6 p.m. my time is when the American news, the American markets really start opening up. I think pre-markets start about 7 p.m. So we are trading in sort of a dead time zone right now. I guess there probably isn't going to be much news coming out right now, especially from America. So we're going to wait and see. It might honestly be easier to trade this later in the night, even though it is Friday. I will be grinding for you guys, but we'll wait and see what happens with this. Again, I feel like this is probably going to be one of those trades where not much happens. We might have to wait a little bit longer to get confirmation that this is actually good or the right play. And again, if it breaks through these weak highs, then we know that we will get stopped at basically losing $30, and we probably bought in too early. I still feel like this bullish trend is going to reverse. It's just a matter of how long this is actually going to take. All right, there we go. Starting to see some movement to the downside. Again, this is a big drop, so I feel like this will start going bullish, probably back to our entry, and then hopefully keep going down. That's sort of the, I guess, the trade that we're looking for here. I think that sort of move down, and then it'll go back up, and then that bigger drop down is probably what we're looking for. But we are about $7 in the positive now, so wait and see what happens with this. Obviously, we're just going to keep the camera on in case there are any crazy drops. You know, there's always a chance to just turn this into millions of dollars. Might be unlikely, but, you know, there's always a chance. There we go. Basically played out perfectly to what we said. It's going to drop and then slightly recover back up to our entry and then hopefully keep going down. So we got the first part right. I'm just doing a raid. I know. There's not much. I mean, if we're going to be here for 3 hours, I have to do something because I'm going to go crazy staring at the same chart. Maybe not. Only if we lose money. But it's always good to do some raids while you trade. That's why it rhymes. A bit more movement. We are probably looking for this to, I think, probably go down maybe here. And we can always readjust. We can always see where that goes. We could always move our stop loss in now because we are sort of in a good range with our profit up about $20 now. There was a huge amount of volume through there for that candle. So that is scary. This dashboard table seems to not be doing much. I guess it's just telling us what indicators are at least bullish and bearish, even though we can sort of tell from the chart. But we do want to see whether this keeps going down. We want this trend to continue down to our stop. Well, I guess our take profits. We definitely don't want it to follow to our stop loss because that would be bad. But for the moment, we might have been right. Looking at the other indicators, we can see RSI is again starting to go back to that sort of equilibrium level. It looks like it was heavily overbought, so it is dropping. That is both on the normal RSI and the ultimate RSI. We then do also have the MACD that is finally flipped bearish. So we might have just got on to this trend before the rest of the market, which would be crazy. That would be really, really good for us. And hopefully this continues. Again, it does seem like this market is quite choppy with big trends to the downside, followed by big trends upside. Obviously, whenever you zoom out on a market, that is pretty much what's going to happen. But it seems like we've been able to pick this up. Hopefully this was the top. Obviously, we could have just waited a little bit longer. Like, I'm even talking 2 minutes later, we could have bought the very TPD top. But we might have still got in at a really, really good time. But we're going to have to keep following this. Again, it could be one of those 3-hour positions, but we're just going to wait and see. We're just going to have a look at the 5-minute chart. Again, it seems like the trends are pretty similar. God, that drop looks even worse on the 5-minute chart there. But it does sort of really look like it is consolidating between these levels. Now, it is quite a big range. That's 164 there, which is the bottom of these 3 candles in a row, about to the 165.75 line, which again is where it topped out over here. So there is quite a tight range. It does look like it wants to go bullish, but we're just going to keep holding this position. I feel like we really did get in at a right time. Obviously, we were up to $20 in the green. It would have been easy to cash out and then take the $5 profit after fees. Again, we could have easily done that, but I still feel like holding is going to be better. And again, this is all just going to be a learning lesson. So if this does eventually hit our stop loss and we get liquidated, then we know that we probably should have just taken the win, or at least adjusted our stop loss while we were in the money. Whereas this trend continues and we do end up hitting our take profit level, then we know that we just need to trust that confirmation that we are seeing with the charts, the indicators, the RSI levels, the MACD. All of the above is really confirming our thesis overall. And these smaller swings where it is going up, down, don't matter as much when you zoom out and hopefully see that trend going up, hitting this line, or at least hitting the week high once again, and then reverting back down basically to where our take profit is, because that seems to be sort of that area where there is quite a lot of liquidity. It seems like there is quite a lot of selling pressure on the downside to these sort of ranges around the 165 line, and then they do get bidded back up. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with this. It is sort of bouncing between that $8 to $10 range here in the profit. I still feel like this could be very, very bearish and keep heading down towards our take profit levels. But I want you guys right now in the comments, let me know what you think of this trade. Is it going to make money, or are we going to get liquidated? Just let me know. Seems like we are testing those highs again. So it still looks like this is a weak high. We are now negative on the position, at least for the moment. But we can see there is quite a lot of, I guess, there has to be a lot of selling pressure. I mean, we did see James Wynn, this guy, get liquidated for like $100 million earlier today on Bitcoin. So we have seen crazier things. I don't know whether this is going to end up being true or not, though. Our take profit looks so far away right now, but I still feel like this is going to play out. We broke through those highs. New week high has been set. And see how it is in a bullish break of structure. Okay, no, never mind. I still feel like we are quite a step away from hitting our stop loss, though. We do have to break through this level that it has struggled to break through basically all day since we've been trading, and that was like an hour ago. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. But honestly, I just feel like this is sort of confirming our thesis. It does seem like the RSI is heading towards that overbought level once again. But we could just be on the wrong side of this trade. We're setting newer highs, which obviously for us is not good. Break of structure again to the bullish side, but then go away because it is a big drop. So obviously, as it hits those new highs, there are people selling their positions, getting out of this market. So there we go. Huge dump again. So that's a $15 swing for us just there, from 165.80 down to 165.60. So it is a 20-cent change in a matter of seconds. It does look like it is really consolidating between these levels. I mean, there is a lot of price action in between the 165.50 and about the 165.80 lines. There we go. Huge dump. Oh my god, look at the volume on that candle. I cannot believe we actually caught that. Wow. That could definitely send this very, very bearish. If there is someone dumping that much, now we go $20 in the green. It would be natural for a lot of this to be recovered to the upside, though. I feel like, again, our entry will be tested, but we're just going to have to wait and see, because this has been the biggest spike in volume you can see as we zoom out. Look how, like, that was this morning. So that was more than 12 hours ago. That was, what, 3.5 hours ago we had another spike similar to that. So, I guess, you know, it's a good sign that someone was selling that much for us. It means we could be on the right trend. Someone's getting out of the market. If they were bullish, they would have been holding in this market. So we're going to have to wait and see how similar this actually gets, and whether this keeps dropping down to our take profit level, which does seem like this is pretty much recovered. We were $20 in the green. Now it's testing our entry once again. We're going to have to wait and see. We're not changing our stop loss just yet. I still feel like this is a good level to have it. We could even move it down to about the 165.95 if we wanted to, because I feel like if it does hit that 166, it could go up quite a bit. There probably is a bit of selling, or I guess quite a lot of orders at that line. let's actually have a look at the depth of markets. So I guess these are, market trades. We can see, look at the 165.61. There is a lot of pressure at that line. So yeah, we really need it to go all the way down here, but I don't think it actually fills out. You can see there are 26,000 orders to sell compared to 21,000 buy orders. Oh, it's evening out now. So it's going to be interesting to keep an eye on this. We'll just keep monitoring whether this is still going in that bearish trend or whether the market has actually flipped. RSI, MACD still going bearish. So I still feel like we're ahead of the trend, but maybe that was the time to get out of our position, take some profits, take some chicken tendies off the table. But again, I still feel like we need to practice holding onto these trades for a lot longer. Backing in our thesis, I guess it is just repeating those same things. If we're changing our mind all the time, we're just going to be flip-flopping through this market, basically never, I guess, accepting responsibility for bad trades that we make. You know, if I sit here and go, oh, I should have gone bullish, then I'm not really accepting responsibility that I felt like this was a bearish trend. It was a good time to enter a bearish trade, and we just made a mistake. So if I go, oh, you know what, I'm going to go bullish now, I'm not really recognizing the mistakes that I made earlier on. And that is pretty much what this whole experiment is about. Testing whether AI can actually be used to build out indicators and whether it is proven to be a good tool, or whether you are just better off banking on the tools that you already have, and I guess your overall market sentiment. So we're going to keep this trade running. We might try and do another trade later on as well if there are some better setups, but for the moment, I feel like this is going to make us some good money. All right, this could finally be confirmation that we were right. Now, $28 in the green. We have the change of character, bearish. MACD is just flipped bearish. RSI is still, well, actually, RSI is a bit more to the downside. The ultimate RSI is actually still a tiny bit bullish. But this is good. This is definitely the change of character that we thought we had from the very beginning, that, I guess, bearish thesis. We could almost move this down now, but I kind of want to wait until we get to around the $40 in the green. I'm almost tempted to get rid of this and just hold onto this order. See if we can actually make some good gains with this. Now, $34 in the green. If we go to the 5-minute charts, again, look at that drop. Wow, that is crazy. Volume, again, still hasn't picked up, so it's just a lot of people selling at the moment. We'll wait and see how this keeps going. It probably will likely test these levels again before it goes back down. I am kind of enjoying looking at the 5-minute chart, so we might just keep it on this for now. But again, this is one of the longest trades that we've been in over the course of this channel. It's now sitting at 44 minutes since we started recording this clip. So it is definitely one of the longer trades. Again, you can see it is starting to build up back up to those levels. And obviously when we got rid of the take profit, it also got rid of the stop loss. So I don't know if I want to add that back in. I mean, probably smart to add that back in, but for right now, we'll just leave it as is. Volume does look like it's picked up, especially on this one candle. So we'll wait and see where this goes. Starting to build back down, hovering around that $30 in the green. Again, I would love for this to double, get about $60, maybe even $100, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself, considering we actually haven't taken any money out of this trade just yet. $45 in the green now. I feel like we should now be dragging our stop loss down. Let's just go to about that 33 level. So this is really good. This, again, probably would have just hit our take profit. So we probably would have cashed out about $60. But I feel like this trend is just going to keep going down. Oh my god, that 5-minute chart is insane. That is crazy. I honestly want to see if there's almost any news that has come out as to why this happened. I mean, there have been some interesting revelations, I guess, over the last day or so. People tried to find where Sailor was hiding the Bitcoin. They tried to get his addresses and stuff. I feel like Arkham actually posted about it. So we'll wait and see, but I mean, that was this morning. I doubt that would have come out now. It doesn't seem like there's any real crypto news. So So again, we are hovering around that $50 level. It looks like this was sort of a value gap area. So maybe there will be some more buyers that come in at this level, pushing it back up. We might honestly hit that stop loss, but I feel like this is a pretty good point. So it would have hit that levels. $60 now in the green. We'll move this down a little bit more. $40 will cash out, which is beautiful. But again, I still feel like this is going lower. 5-minute charts. Oh my God. That is insane. That is crazy. This might actually look even worse. What about the 1 hour? We should really keep a close eye on this because it does look like it's really testing our stop loss, or at least it's getting close to it. Again, we have been in this trade for about an hour. So if we cash out 40 USD, it's not bad for an hour-long trade. Ideally, it would be longer. I still feel like we have a lot of room to move. MACD hasn't really flipped completely bearish just yet. RSI is definitely more to the weaker side now. Ultimate RSI still almost looks like it's overbought, which is kind of crazy considering how red the last 10 minutes has been. But it does prove that that thesis was right. Even though we did go into the negatives a few times up here, we still had faith that it was going to go down. And that was sort of what I was talking about, where we just have to trust our instincts and basically not change our original thesis. Because when it got back here, up to these levels and kept testing and testing and testing, it would have been easy to go, you know what, I think it's going to go bullish, I think it's going to flip, and then race back up to new highs. So around here, it would have been so easy to do that. We got about $15 in the red. It would have been so easy just to reverse the position, betting on a bang up to, I guess, the upside, but we still held on. Even when we got to new highs here, I still felt like it was going to go down, and then we started seeing it here with that huge sell, then tested these levels once again, and now dropping all the way down. So we might actually get stopped at this level. Again, you don't really see these huge declines like this without some sort of recovery. So that might be what is happening now. It wouldn't surprise me if this does sort of get back up to this change of character level before the next leg down. So it really just depends about your risk profile. I mean, we're still trying to build up a bigger portfolio, and we are just testing out different AI strategies. So we could always get rid of the stop loss. If we really think this is going to keep going down, then that would be the play. Get rid of the stop loss, wait for it to go back up to this change of character level, and then lower down. So for right now, though, I would just be happy cashing out the $40. We go green for the day. Even after fees, we're still up a decent amount, and we made our own indicator in order to really give us this confirmation. By the way, I hope you guys do enjoy the longer videos, because that's what today is going to be. There we go. We got stopped. So again, we took about $40 in profit. Again, we'll wait and see whether this does actually confirm the change of character level was right. That is quite a bullish 1 minute candle, though. On the 5 minutes, again, still looks quite bullish after that, I guess, very bearish 5 minute period. So we did cash out about $40 in profit, which really isn't too bad for our own indicator. We'll wait and see if there are some better setups. Maybe we could go bullish this time. We're just going to have to wait and see what happens. So if it does keep consolidating down, I do really think this market is just slowly going to the bullish side. There are obviously always going to be these sort of zigzag up and down consolidation patterns. So if it does drop back down to these levels, we could go bullish, betting on a reversal back even just to this change of character line. But we'll wait and see what happens here. And I'll see you in the next clip. Well, I tried to trade a little bit more after my camera died, and there weren't really too many other really good setups that I felt like presented an opportunity to make money, so we basically ended just trading sideways and lost some money. We then made some more and lost some more as well, so I just decided to call it a day. We spent about 3 hours trading today and ended up with around $60 US in profit after all the fees and everything. So as a beginner using a leveraged account, we are definitely getting the hang of it. This is still the very beginning though, and I feel like it is going to take time to really get the hang of this. So if you guys have any tips or advice, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. And if you made it all the way to the end, comment bananas and I'll give you a banana. Thanks.